Hello, people.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
Welcome to the show. This is the first episode. What did we call it? Internet fried brains. Says it right up there. The internet fried all of our brains, and we're your hosts.
11 herbs and neuro spices.
Yeah, I'm Jason.
Good.
Also, Jort.
I'm Sami. You can call me Cyber Desi too.
And I'm Shane. Also, I go by Lord Sedg.
The show's going to be fairly freeform. The plan is for this episode and future to talk mostly about gaming, about weird stuff in tech and the kind of game tech community, and a section at the end of the show for rabbit holes. We all like to dig into strange and unique stories we see and find online, and want to provide a platform for us and for our guests to share those rabbit holes with you.
Buckle up, Buttercup. We're going on a 4-hour deep dive into World War II.
Let's go! His name is Shane, and he likes boats.
No, just to make Sammy upset, it's going to be a 4-hour deep dive on trains.
I don't have traintism. It's just not my style.
It was the funniest thing ever. Just had a random videos. Why am I randomly being subjected to trains?
I know more about trains than I should, purely because of TikTok at this point, which says something about my For You page that we're not going to discuss right now.
No, that TikTok For You is going to be its own episode, I'm sure. But
why am I a North Sea TikTok?
Yeah. And also,
I too would like to appease our Chinese overlords.
Yes, you can have all my data. Also, if you have any ideas for the show that you guys want to send in, or if you want to give us feedback or just ideas, or all heckling is also welcome. You can email podcast@jorts.tech. For any complaints about the show, you can email nobody, or you can email us. We'll act on them or we won't. But
we don't
be
take
nice.
criticism well.
No, it scares us. We're delicate snowflakes. Just ask the boomers. So how about we start off with a round of introductions? Sami, you want to go first? Introduce yourself, a little background.
Sure. I'm a Wisconsinite. Big old cheesehead there, bud. I was a console kid my whole life until a few years ago. I got a PC. A friend of mine helped me build mine. And now I'm not like one of those, but I'm definitely a diehard PC person over that now. No. And my brand of tism is dinosaurs and animals.
Excellent. And then so we're going to start the show every week with a weekly icebreaker. So the first episode, we're kind of low hanging fruit. What is your favorite game from the pre-Xbox Live era? So before games were like online, or had an experience that was catered specifically to online play, separate from offline play. Like, what's your favorite offline game? Never had any plans.
Games were better before live service was a thing.
The damn internet ruined everything.
Based on me having an entire tattoo sleeve of it, I feel like I'll be called out if I don't say Ocarina of Time. And it is Ocarina of Time. That game is great. I know it's definitely a nostalgia-based thing. I play it at least twice a year. I'll go through and beat the game again.
Now, do you play it on the cartridge or the Switch remaster?
I have my original GameCube from when I was a kid, and I still play it on and it's the original game and everything too. So,
oh, nice.
I hoard all of my old consoles, and I dig them out and I use those. Same. But I would say Wind Waker is a close second. I have a whole plan for my basement. Wind Waker's terrific.
I could go on a whole rabbit hole about why and how Wind Waker is mathematically the best Zelda game.
The speed runs of it are just delightful.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me, shot by other gamers.
Oh, yeah. Let's get canceled on the first episode. Go for it.
I didn't play Ocarina of Time until it re-released on the 3DS.
That's fine.
I'm totally kidding. That's always allowed.
It's okay. It's your childhood sucked, and I pity you for that. But
I had a
it's fine.
PlayStation for my childhood.
Oh, your childhood sucked, and I pity you for that.
I'm
but
sorry, I had Twisted Metal.
I
and
had
Spyro.
my PlayStation 2 was one of my favorite Christmas presents that I got.
My PlayStation 2 is right over there. Actually, my
Mine's
second
in the other
PlayStation 2
room.
is right over there.
My PlayStation 2 came with a minivan my parents purchased. And one of the things with the van, this was, remember when there were TVs and minivans and
Was this a part of Progressive that I just missed where they bundle and save?
At the dealership, they bundled.
We've
already tangented from the introduction. So after this, Shane, you're gonna do your intro. But the really short version of this is they bundled a PS2 Slim with the sale of Honda Odysseys as like a part of the infotainment, because the marketing for it was the screen is useless if you don't have a console to bring with you. So we're gonna sell you a console part of the car, and it was bundled with it.
What game did it come with?
Twisted
Do you know?
Metal.
Was it?
No,
Twisted?
I think it was a Crash. I think it was a Crash Bandicoot title.
Oh, that's totally fucking fair, though. All right.
Yeah, but the problem was the PS2 Crash games were ass.
I was a Spyro kid over a Crash
Same.
kid.
Yeah.
Shane, your introduction?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sedg. Also Shane. I exist. I fly planes for a living. If people would let me fly planes more.
I keep telling you, just go take one from the airport. It's like ducks at the park. They're free.
I was just gonna say, is it like ducks at the park?
It's like
You
ducks
can
in the
just
park.
pick it. It is free if you don't get
How to
caught.
pick up a duck.
I didn't say it was easy. I said they're free.
I have been gaming since 1995.
What
an
oddly specific.
I had to think of when my grandpa started letting me play on the computer in his house, and I'm just like sitting here like, when was that? It's like, no, he stuck me on Red Baron 2 in like
great
1995. Game. Yeah. So I've been gaming for a while. Cat. I'm a huge Halo fan, if you can't tell by the energy sword box behind me.
For the people who aren't
And
watching
the
video, there's an
giant-
energy sword box behind
And
me.
an ODST banner.
And an ODST banner.
By the way, if you're listening, there are video playbacks available. We will likely be posting them to YouTube, Spotify, and hosting them on jorts.tech/podcast.
Once we figure out how to get Spotify to, let us do video, because I think you have to apply for that. I don't know.
Yeah, so I can promise you they'll be on jorts.tech/podcast and probably YouTube.
I would say definitely YouTube.
Great.
Got that settled? Anyway.
Anywho,
God, you're white. Sorry. Any woozles.
I am also of the Midwestern variety.
You don't say.
Oh, anyway, let's move on right along. Sorry.
My my pre Xbox Live era game actually was probably like Microsoft Combat Flight Simulator 2.
Gee, are you into planes?
Did I mention that?
His tism is the planes.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
I mean, it's a great game.
hard.
It's
It
want to
is.
talk about games that just withstand the test of time, and
Well,
there's
see, the
nothing wrong
problem
with
is-
Flight Sim. It just gets
No.
better every time they update it.
Yeah,
It just
it gets
better.
more realistic. Have you
Right.
ever seen the old Flight Sim boxes, like what it looked like?
Oh,
That's
it's so
down at the
funny.
Peak of realism.
Oh yeah.
It's-
To be fair, like a lot of games at its time, the art was rendered in a way that is improved by being displayed on a CRT as opposed to a
Right.
pixel by pixel.
but also
monitor. But it was
Like,
also
it-
480i,
yeah.
which is a rough equivalent to 480p. And I say a rough equivalent because if I say it's equivalent, we will get famous by a bunch of angry nerds on the internet correcting me that 480i and 480p are two different resolutions.
Okay, to be
Don't
fair,
believe
there's
you.
already
Nerds
going to
don't
be
get
a
angry.
bunch of angry. We're going to have a
Well, there's always going to
subreddit
be
within a
angry nerds.
day.
That's the whole point of this show. So, like, if you're a
gonna say,
nerd and
we're-
you're angry about something that we said, podcast@jorts.tech. Send us your concerns so we can address them in a mail episode. No, but Flight Sim's a great game. It's one of those that just gets better.
Well, and now again, you can't see it really because it's in a box, but there's a ton of like flight yokes and stuff behind me for like a home sim setup.
I can confirm for those of you watching the video, there's at least one box behind him.
There is at least one.
At least.
At least one
YouTube.
box.
For those of you watching on YouTube who are of the OCD variety, I'm sorry.
It's
Don't look at my screen.
Look away, children. Look away.
Jordan,
Thanks.
Jason, your intro.
So my name is Jason. I also go by Jort. I am a tech blogger and IT handyman. I make computers do things, and grew up near New York City. I am not from Wisconsin. I grew up very, very, very close to New York, and I have been PC gaming since 2004. I've been playing video games since I was a wee lad, but I really switched over and really started like hardcore grinding games when I started on PC. But my favorite game from like the pre-online era is the world's most functionally perfect FPS shooter.
Oh my god.
The one and only original Doom from 1993.
He's right, though.
I know he's right. I'm aware. It's the lead up.
I love
This
Doom
game can be
and
played on
Doom
crap.
accessories. Doom, it's lean code. It was a brand new experience at the time. Brand-ish new. I mean, Wolfenstein 3D existed, and without Wolfenstein 3D, we wouldn't have Doom.
Right, like Wolfenstein is the granddaddy of shooters, but Doom did all the things like
Doom did the
lighting
legwork.
and yeah, Doom did the lighting. Doom did the more up and down looking level design.
Yep.
It brought
Actual
personality
verticality to the level design.
Yeah.
Doom, that was one of the impressive things about Doom was that the level existed in 3 dimensions without existing in 3 dimensions, which is so incredibly remarkable when you consider the size of the file and the time that it was. Like there was no Doom to copy from. They had Wolfenstein 3D, but it was a very bare framework at best. But I'll rabbit hole about what kind of wizardry John Carmack got up to in a future episode.
I would have also put Doom 1993 on there, but I wasn't even allowed to play Diablo when I was that young because it was evil.
I didn't play it in 1993. I first played it.
1993.
I first played it without my dad. So we had and still own the worst port of Doom that exists.
The
Doom
Game Boy
was
port?
No, there's actually a worse one. The Super
graphic
Nintendo
calculator port?
No, the Super Nintendo
Really?
port. Yeah. So for a lot of reasons, it is actually the worst Doom port. The way they imported the code and translated it for the Super Nintendo to run was horribly inefficient, and the available memory cache for the sprites was so low that they had to actually reduce the pixel count for the sprites in order to make it fit the NES cartridge. So just think about that. The original Doom was too high quality fidelity graphics for the Super Nintendo to run.
I mean, look
so they
at
had
it.
to downgrade. They had to downgrade the graphics of the original Doom just to get it to run on Super Nintendo. And the Super Nintendo controller right? Do you have one handy or like picture it in your head?
Oh, I was gonna say I could go grab
It's
one.
just
Would
a
you?
D-pad and buttons.
Yeah.
So how are you looking
Yeah.
left, right, up, and down?
Yeah, that's
Well,
a good
you
point.
didn't ever look up and down though.
Well,
in
not up
Doom.
and down, so rather left and right.
Yeah. No, you literally. Oh.
Yeah.
You had to use the
Because
yes.
A and X, as much as you would think they'd be mapped to look left and look right, weren't. And custom keybinds didn't exist.
We're just saying, yeah.
That just wasn't the thing. So I then first experienced Doom at the LAN cafe when I started gaming on PC in 2004.
Fair.
I actually never did Doom growing up, but I did do Turok.
Oh, what a
Turok's
great
a good
game.
one.
Hmm.
Great game. All right. So should we move on to the first topic? And
Moving right along.
yeah.
I have one thing to say about Doom though.
Okay. I'll always
Because-
allow it. That's
Yeah,
always
hi.
allowed.
Welcome to one of the first times in this entire show's lifespan that we will talk about Doom. I've seen a lot of people wonder if the OG Doom, like, by standards, holds up, because a lot of people, you know, when they play Doom, they play the console version of it on the Switch or Xbox, whatever.
The Steam
Not
port
the
is
OG
very
PC.
popular.
Yeah, the Steam port's really popular because they add those good quality of life things. But if you think about it, I was playing Doom inside of Doom 3's BFG edition, where you have to use WSD to move the arrow keys to aim.
Yeah.
It's still fine. Like, it plays fine.
Yeah.
Um,
There are
I will
100 people playing the Steam port of Doom as of 6 minutes ago.
and I will say that, like, yes, playing Doom with the Brutal Doom mod makes it way better.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it takes Doom and turns it into Doom 2016. But if you just want, like, OG Doom,
Great experience.
it's still gonna play exactly like it did in 1993, and it's not one of those games where I remember this being better. You know, it's exactly like you remember it.
I'll rabbit hole on why Counter-Strike is like that on a future episode.
Oh boy.
We'll make Counter-Strike a topic in the future. By the way, if we're going to start establishing a bingo card, I think the first square on the bingo card for the show is going to be us putting down a future topic that we never address.
Oh, that's a very good idea.
Yeah, we should put a bingo card list together.
The bingo card list. Sedg mentions being a pilot. Doom is mentioned, and a future episode topic is written down, but
I'm
never
making a
talked
list.
about
never
again.
addressed. Terrific. While you do that, I'll start in on our first topic of the week, which has been addressed by a lot of people, but deserves all the coverage it can possibly get. Blue Scooty.
Ha!
Blue
My
Scooty,
man.
a 13-year-old YouTube streamer, not a Twitch streamer. I found out he was banned on Twitch because they caught him streaming when he was too young.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
he's
I
13
did hear
now.
about that.
And I don't know if he's allowed. I mean, they'd be stupid not to allow him on, even though he has he's been banned in the past. It's from a revenue standpoint. They'd be dumb not to have him on and just take
I
advantage
agree.
of some of this hype. They can ban him later if they want to, and they'd
But he
be
beat
evil
a
corporate overlords we
34.
expect them to be. Because if he doesn't,
34-year-old game.
yeah, if Twitch doesn't pick him up, Kick will. But Blue Scooty is the first human being to play Tetris so hard that the game crashes. There's a 40-minute YouTube video that we highly recommend that rabbit holes down the detailed explanation of how and why this game is considered beatable when the final level 255, does not result in a congratulations or game over screen. But if the game is capable of reaching level 255, it goes back to level 0 and continues on. It just
If you want a
cycles.
smaller video as well, I actually watched it on a channel called A Game Scout. It's like a 15-minute video
Oh,
that he
terrific.
covers all the details in
Yeah.
very well, and I do recommend that video if you want like a deep dive that's not
40
a
minutes.
big time. Yeah.
So Blue Scooty became the first human player to force an error in the game's code. I think it was a level 157.
55. He did it in 157, but it was initially supposed to be 155. But he messed up the actual Tetris.
Yeah, he played the game too well.
Yeah.
And
he was supposed to get one line cleared, but I think he got either 3 or 4.
Yep.
So then he didn't know when the next chance he had was to do it. So he just continued playing,
and
which
chat's
he was setting a record.
But imagine trying to read chat. Imagine.
Oh, he couldn't.
Yeah, you can't do it.
You can't look away.
So for some context, chat, if you've ever played Tetris, the highest level I've ever gotten to, I've ever made it is 37. Is the fastest level I've ever made it to.
Yeah, the game initially, what happened was in level 29 was like known as like the end game level because it was the highest speed that the game reached. And back in the day when the way the game was set up and the controllers and the buttons and everything couldn't go faster than that. Yeah. And then in 2011, somebody managed to get to level 30 by coming up with a new like button technique called hyper tapping. Yep. It was a whole thing, and then I think it was 2020. A new guy named Cheese. We love Cheese. Developed a whole new technique called the rolling technique, which is just insane to me. I tried doing it the other day.
You need to look into it and like watch the videos on this because it's
they roll the controller between their fingers, essentially like putting it between their foot and their leg, and then rolling the controller up and down with their fingers like I don't know how to. It looks weird. But it works.
Well, for those of you who play guitar, it's like it's like speed picking on a guitar.
Yeah. And by doing that, they're able to hit the buttons just rapidly quick.
You're using the spring tension. It comes down to using the spring tension of the mechanical switch that powers the Nintendo Entertainment System controller, and it's only possible because the NES controller uses an analog mechanical switch. This would not be possible with a memory.
And so at this point, the hyper tap people had gone hard. So bunch of different records were being set, but the highest that they managed to get to was level 63. And really quickly after Cheese came out,
which
with
is
the rolling
insane,
technique,
by the way. As a reminder, the human finger, one single human finger, is not capable of pressing the button enough times to move the piece left a single square by the time it hits the bottom of the grid.
Has to be.
Well, it's not their thumbs; it's their. That's why they wear gloves. If you notice, all these guys wear gloves. Yeah, went to play.
But the high score or the highest level then made a huge jump from level 63 to 95, and then another rapid jump happened, and where it went from 95 to 146.
And the issue becomes colors. The game doesn't know how to color the pieces. And there's some levels where all the pieces are black.
They called it the charcoal level. You can't see where things are going. It's just super messed up.
So you go from playing Tetris to playing Speed Tetris to playing Speed Tetris on crack to playing Speed Tetris on crack in your head.
Because before the all black one, they had one that they called Dusk, where the colors were just almost very black. Muted, and it was very difficult, like greens and
slightly
and
lighter
grays
black,
and blues, and it was super messed up. And then so I forget the name of the guy. I'm so sorry, I should have written it down. But he came out with like the code. Explaining the different percentage chances you had at different levels on how to get
how to force the game to crash.
To force the crash. And so one player decided to start. He started streaming every single night. He actually in one night he started streaming. Blue Scooty heard about it.
Yeah, it was the first night.
Blue Scooty then did it that first night as well. And
by the way, he's not just like some random kid. He's like a competitive Tetris player. He's a huge competitive Tetris player. He's been like shooting. He's like a rocket ship rising star in the competitive Tetris space. He says that he
practices 3 to 5 hours a day playing Tetris.
Mind you, that's what normal.
That's what athletes do.
Yeah, that's athletes or musicians.
3 to 5 hours a day in Tetris. That kid must dream the music. Like,
At some point, do you just like mute it and it's like, I never want to hear this song again?
Oh god,
I-
yeah, he
I
must
would
have
think
like.
so.
I would have to play other EDM.
it was. I'm pretty sure it was on in his stream though. So
Yeah, but that just because it's on his stream doesn't mean he hears it.
that's
Right,
a
you
good
gotta remember.
point.
So
That's-
because a
Also-
big part of this competitive community is it has to be on original hardware. So he is capturing an NES. He's capturing
Yeah.
the console. He's not emulating it.
yeah.
Right. So he's running this because I don't know how many of you are familiar with the NES. The younger crowd that's watching this, it doesn't have normal inputs. It doesn't have normal
Analog-
video inputs.
it's
It is
analog
a
output.
cable. Is a cable output, like goes into where your cable plugs in the TV. So he has to have a cable to HDMI converter
There
to be.
is
I'm sure there's
actually
other
some
ways to do
hardware.
it,
Well,
but-
so there's bespoke hardware for this now because
Oh, yeah.
the retro game community, thanks to the propensity of 3D printing and custom PCBs becoming cheaper and cheaper, and it's called FPGA chips, which are fully programmable grid array chips, becoming more available, and even Raspberry Pis. There are a lot of people who are building converter card devices specifically to capture analog
That's fair.
analog media.
That's
Okay.
fair.
Also, I just want to touch base on this because we're talking about forcing the crash a lot and
Yeah.
why that means that he beat the game. For those of you who, again, talking to more of the younger crowd here, for old arcade games, Tetris, Donkey Kong, Galaga, any of those old arcade games, they only had so much memory that they could use before the actual computer like couldn't handle anymore, and it forced what was called a kill screen, and that's how you beat the game. These games didn't have an end condition,
The developers never thought people would get this far.
right? Because
So they didn't program it to go this far. That's why
Because-
the colors start glitching and things like that as well.
right, because you have to think these games were weren't originally designed for the home console. They're
Mhm.
designed as arcade cabinets,
Cabinets.
which eventually you're gonna run out of quarters.
Yeah, well, and again,
time.
they were expecting nobody to get past level 29 because it was
Right.
faster than anybody was going to be able to do it. Then that was a pipe dream.
It was
to get to level
inconceivable
30.
on the original hardware.
Mhm.
So like the fact that he was able to do this.
Did speedrunning even exist? Was speedrunning We're like
No.
I know people
I'm
speedrun. I know a lot of
sure-
people have been speedrunning the Super Mario franchise for ages, but when did Super Mario speedrunning really start?
I'm sure that you can't really say that there would be an official thing because there's no way that there wasn't people at arcades that were between them and their friends
Mhm.
trying to get to things quickly. I would call and consider
I mean, the
that.
Pac-Man kill
speedrunning.
screen has been, Pac-Man is
Um,
only playable on arcade cabinets, and
Well,
its
yeah,
kill
that
screen
one
is
totally
famous.
glitches out and shuts down.
It's, you just get hex code on the right side of the screen. It's
Yeah.
insane.
You're not beating that. Can't get dots.
Get your bingo cards out, kids, because I looked it up. When did speedrunning, like the community, because people,
Yeah.
again, like you guys said, people have been speedrunning before the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, back in
shit,
the
they had like
1900s.
gaming
People
tournaments to see
you
who
can
could
speedrun
score the
pinball.
most points. Yeah. Do you want to know what game started speedrunning?
Oh.
I bet you know.
Please tell me it's Laser Shoot.
Is it
Laser
Doom?
Shoot Larry.
It's
It's
no,
Doom.
It's Doom.
Let's
It's
go.
Doom. Leisure Suit Larry, that's where you take it.
I thought it was gonna be something
you-
really weird.
How do you? Yeah, no, you speedrun Leisure Suit Larry. The first one to come wins.
Oh, Jesus
Jeez,
Christ.
good God.
Anyway, so the next step now, the Tetris battle isn't over.
No.
The newest thing that they're going to do, it sounds like on the streaming community, is going
Max
to be
efficiency.
avoiding crash, getting as
Mm.
far as they can in the game while avoiding having crashes. Because again, this guy, I really should have looked his name up, came out with all those percentages throughout all of the levels up to like I think he did like 239 or something like that. And so there is a way to get that far without crashing it, and I believe that's the
And
next step
tool assisted.
in this
It's been
stream.
proven that with tool assisted runs that are
Yeah.
pre-programmed to avoid the scenarios that force a crash, can bring the game to level 255, which means it's
Which then
conceivable.
restarts it,
Right,
and
it's
that's a way
conceivable
that
a human
you're
being
going to
could
walk
accomplish
out
that.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah. That way, like, you didn't beat the game, but the game didn't beat you either. It's
You
a
both
win-win scenario. You both
Yeah.
win. They're both good.
Which,
But I'm curious where this is
And
going to go
Boris
then for games
Tetris
like.
will look down on you from the heavens and smile. I don't know who invented Tetris, but I know
Who
it was a
invented
Russian guy.
Tetris?
I'm just assuming his name is
Tetris?
Boris Tetris.
I want fan art of Boris Tetris. But I'm curious where this is going to go then for games like Frogger or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Battletoads. Like, can we crash?
Every
can we crash
ex-GameStop
Battletoads?
employee listening to this show just had a flashback.
I, the ex-GameStop employee on the show.
I worked at GameStop too. It was horrible.
Excuse
don't
me? Do you sell
don't have
Battletoads?
don't have
Oh.
boobs and work at a GameStop. I'm
No,
telling you
don't
now,
work
if
at
you're
GameStop.
considering it, don't.
Don't work at a GameStop in general. Just don't do it. You'll
Work at a
hate
friendly
yourself.
local game store instead. I'm
Yeah,
sure there's a
that would
local
be
store by
lovely.
you that sells new and used games, and they could use the help more than GameStop.
We
And I
have a lovely
guarantee you,
one in
Reddit
Wisconsin
will
called
make sure
Universal
GameStop
Collectibles.
stays in
Big
business
fan.
forever, because if GameStop runs out of money, Reddit, a bunch of angry morons on Reddit run out of money. So they'll just keep throwing money at GameStop. You don't need to help them.
Hold on. I'm so sorry. I was working at GameStop when that all happened.
Oh, good God.
And I had people call. I can't make this shit up. I had 2 people call me and inquire about how they purchase stocks.
At the
And they
store.
like the one, it was a lady, one of them, and she was like, "Yeah, do I come in if I want to buy stocks, or can I do that over the phone?" And I was like, "What? Do you just do that to Walmart too, Target? Like, how do you think this works?" Obviously, I didn't say that. I'm, working there at the time,
Excuse
and I'm
me,
like, "That's
Mr.
not."
J.P. Morgan, I want to buy some stocks of your
This
bank.
isn't how stocks work, ma'am. I'm like, Jesus. It was a terrible time to be working at GameStop.
Is there ever a
Meanwhile-
good time to be working at GameStop?
Yes, during the release of Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, okay, that's
One of the
fair.
greatest times to work at GameStop.
That's
You get
fair.
to crush so many little children's dreams.
Oh, I'm sorry. You need a parent with you to purchase that game.
No, okay. I know I've told you guys this story, but just for the sake
Oh,
of this,
absolutely.
and I've said this on the old show, so just as a aside, this will be posted under under our old show's link, Gaming Casual, which is dead now.
Long live internet fried brains.
Yeah. But I've definitely told this story on the show, but I was working at GameStop when GTA 5 released, which I now realize was like 10 years ago
I'm old.
or
kid.
more. And that makes me sad. I had like the stereotypical soccer mom and her 6-year-old son who puts Grand Theft Auto 5 on the counter. And the mom looks at me, she's like in her purse looking for something. Like, my son would like to buy this game. And I look and I'm like, ma'am, do you know what is on this game? Like, what this game entails? He's like, I don't know. He said his dad said it was okay. Okay. Well, because you're the one who's here. And I unveil the Rolodex on the back. Because Grand Theft Auto, if you can think of it for the ESRB rating, Grand Theft Auto is rated for it.
It's rated the whole alphabet.
Yeah. Like, the fact that Grand Theft Auto isn't rated AO is astonishing at this point. But
There are platforms. The reason that they very carefully toe that line because they can't sell it on some platforms if they go that route.
yeah, I know. Luckily, Steam isn't one of those platforms anymore.
Too bad we're still not getting GTA 6 on PC.
Not
It's
for
not
at least
at
a year
launch.
after launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. But that's a subject for another day.
Mm-hmm.
But I unveil like the Rolodex of things. Like, And she's like, well, I thought you said this was a racing game. I'm like, and this is where the
Technically.
kid looks at
There do be
This-
cars.
this is where the kid looks at me and does the whole like, don't.
What are you
Please.
doing?
Like, ma'am, there is a scene where you tape a car back, where you attach jumper cables to a man's testicles in this game. It is
As one does.
a scene that is always in the game.
And there's
Like, there's no way around it.
you can skip it, but by the time you can skip it, it's too late.
Yeah, they're already on his ball.
He's already screaming by the time you can
Yeah.
skip that cutscene.
And the mom looks at me and goes, really? This is something they make for children? It's like, no, ma'am, this game isn't for children because, of course.
But it's a
Hey,
video game.
Yeah. Like, ma'am, this game isn't for children. This game is for grown adults. And the kid looks, but all me and my friends are going to do is race cars. I'm like,
Sure, bud.
uh-huh. And
Yeah.
the mom looks at him and she's like, thank you very much. And like grabs the kids like, we are going home and we are talking to your father. I'm like, oh no, I caused a divorce.
It's beginning
I
to
will
look a
go.
lot like Christmas.
And I will say what I said the first time you tell that story is one day that boy is going to become a supervillain.
Yeah, you started. That was his arc,
Oh, this
man.
is gonna be. He's gonna be on YouTube scrolling through, find this and go, that son of a bitch.
It's that motherfucker.
He's gonna nuke the fucking moon, and it's your fault.
Wherever you are, random kid from GameStop, I'm glad I can be part of your supervillain origin story.
You know that means you're like the first to die. Or the last.
Yeah.
He has a
eh,
very particular set of skills.
I had a good run. All right.
He will find you.
I'm a millennial.
Bring it on.
Don't. Yeah. Like, nothing's killed me yet. Come on. I want you to try.
Absolutely. All right, to move over to our next topic then. Let's do a little bit of retrospection. It is currently January 11th at the time of recording. And we just went through a very interesting year of games. 2023 had, I think, the greatest and single worst games of the last 10 years both came out last year.
Oh yeah, there was
I
there was
think
some.
there's a lot of contenders for like what is the most hilariously worst game of 2023,
Okay.
and a lot of people have said the day before.
Well, let's
Because
let's
it's
just
a
get
rug.
the day let's get the day before out of the way to start with here.
Yeah.
The day before wasn't like, yes, it was a game that
But it wasn't
existed,
a game.
But it wasn't anything. It wasn't what the devs promised.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I didn't even buy the damn thing. I just watched.
Yeah.
I watched people try to defend this game like it's not that bad. My guy,
We're
it took you 38 bullets to kill one person
Mm-hmm.
in a tactical milsim game.
My contender is
we're skipping over. Sorry, continue.
oh no, we're getting to this one.
Mine is
Oh, yeah.
the Rise of Kong.
Yeah, that's where I
Was-
was gonna go. Rise
Okay.
of Kong
Hilarious.
Yeah.
And then also
That JPEG
the
cutscene.
Gollum game.
and the Gollum game. The
Oh
Gollum
my
game, I
God.
think, might deserve worst game because they actually tried. They were trying. They were really bad at it.
That's a good point. They actually put effort into it versus Rise.
Rise of Kong was done
There's a
just
JPEG
to-
in it. There's a JPEG in a goddamn cutscene.
Rise of Kong could be a rabbit hole because that game's existence is a weird contingency of a contract in order to maintain ownership of that IP.
Yeah.
So that game was never meant to be a game. And the day before, I would argue, is also never meant to be a game because it was.
It was
This is all
illegal.
alleged. It was all alleged, but it's allegedly a rug pull.
Oh God.
I heard about all that. actually,
Allegedly. I think CoffeeZilla did a whole big thing on
yeah.
it.
That's the video I watched. Yeah.
Watch his video, do your own research, make your own opinions, but we're going to now move over and talk about the best thing to happen to video games in the last 10 years.
Can I mention though, since we
Yeah.
just mentioned the worst?
Yeah.
Two of the games that were not well received this year were both Lord of the Rings games.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously Gollum exists, which, by the way, Gollum is up to mixed reviews on Steam.
I just looked it up as well. It is still $50.
Yeah, it also has
The
DLC.
studio doesn't exist.
It's
They closed
$60 with the
studio
DLC.
down.
Where's the money going?
Hell.
Gabe. No, it all goes to Gabe. It's funding his next submarine.
No, it's finally funding Half-Life 3.
Don't
Yeah,
say that.
yeah.
Don't get their hopes up.
No, I can't get their hopes up because Valve just took
Valve
down
doesn't
2
do things
fan-
in threes.
Valve can't count to 3. 1,
Valve
2,
just took down-
Alex.
Valve just took down 2 like fan projects. One was porting Team Fortress 2 to the new Source engine,
Yeah.
and I forget what the other one was.
Well, there was a
It
fan
was a
project.
Portal
I
one.
actually just got done beating it. It was Portal Revolution. And
Yeah.
if
Oh,
you
yeah.
are interested in it, I had a delightful time. It's a little off because obviously it's not like really professional voice acting. It's still decent. It doesn't feel fully Valve, but it was very good. Lots of new
Well,
puzzle concepts and mechanics, and I enjoyed it. And it's free, so why wouldn't you play it?
fair. But okay, so here's the difference between that one and like the Team Fortress 2 one from the very little research that I've done on it,
Yeah.
because I read one article.
Mhm.
Valve isn't normally one that knocks fan projects down.
Mhm.
Correct.
Valve's very big on like, yeah, no, do your thing, man.
You do it, man. I don't wanna.
The only problem was they were like remaking assets for Source 2,
Yeah.
for the new Source engine for the Team Fortress 2 one, where that Portal one was in Portal 2's engine
Yeah.
Mhm.
with Portal 2's assets, so they weren't having
Yeah.
to make anything new.
So was
So
it just
You're
like
not
a
infringing
copyright
on
issue?
anything.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're
Yeah.
not infringing on it. so.
Comes down to fair use.
But yeah, so now if I suppose we can circle back to worst later, but yeah, let's talk about that game.
You know, the
Baldur's
best
Gate
game.
3. The greatest thing to happen to video games, and at least since GTA 5.
I would argue since Skyrim, but yeah.
I think GTA
Um,
5 had more players than Skyrim. That's why I went that route.
Yeah, but Skyrim has more remakes.
True.
I did
Skyrim
pull
and
up.
Resident Evil 4 have more remakes
I pulled up.
We're
the
gonna
Game
get
of
a
the
new
Year winners,
Skyrim every year, forever.
until
but it's
Elder
always going to be the
Scrolls
same Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
I
With fishing.
pulled up some Game of the Year's winners
Okay.
from previous years because I wanted to see opinions on how they held up and versus Baldur's Gate and everything. So we'll go in order of year.
Yeah, pick a couple
So
of notable
2001.
years, yeah.
2001, we have Grand Theft Auto 3 was Game of the Year.
That game did not hold up.
Nope.
No.
I put
Okay.
side notes at the ends of all of them. That's the only one I didn't put any side notes on of like why I like this one.
No. Okay. So here's the thing. Grand Theft Auto 3 was great when it came out because it brought Grand Theft Auto into the 3D space.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to play that San Andreas or Vice City in the modern era after playing games with modern fucking controls, it's like going back and playing GoldenEye.
I just
janky
remembered.
as shit.
I just remembered Grand Theft Auto was a top-down 2D game.
Yeah. Remember
Oh
that
my
when
God.
Grand Theft Auto was top down?
I was just instantly transported back to the 8th grade, playing a copy of that. I had stored
He
in
had
a
his,
USB
he had his
stick.
Ratatouille moment, right? Like,
Oh my god! Like sitting here is like I was sitting in the library playing. Oh my god!
oh my gosh! Shane just pulled up his fucking
He had
Game
the
Boy.
actual the Game Boy Advance cartridge.
Oh
handy.
my god!
You
For
fucking
Grand Theft Auto
nerd!
Advance. Which
All
was
right,
still
next-
top down, by the way.
Next one, 2007.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely
Which-
deserved Game of the Year that year, though.
Yeah.
That year, yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree that year huge.
Yeah.
2007, which this game I have a very soft spot for, was BioShock.
Oh, fuck. Bioshock definitely still...
Absolutely.
I'm
Deserves
sorry,
it
Halo
and
3
holds it.
fans. I stand by this one too. I think BioShock was the best game that came out that year.
I'm sorry. Halo 3 was good as somebody who is a massive
BioShock was
Halo-
considered one of the initial first-person shooter games where the story was just as important as the visuals.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was
And the
it was
gameplay was
just
still
so well
fantastic.
done. Oh my
And-
god, I loved it, and the cosplays that came out.
in the
The
modern
art style.
Mm.
in the modern age of gaming, right? Like, I could boot up BioShock right now on my computer. BioShock Remastered.
And it still
Oh, yeah.
looks nice.
It looks
It still
beautiful.
looks good. It plays good.
The story's
and
still great. I
story's
don't
still
think
good.
anything aged poorly
I
on
have
it.
one gripe with BioShock Infinite, and it's that the lighting does not render properly in DirectX 11 and DirectX 12, and you can't roll
that's
it back.
Infinite, though.
I
This
know.
is-
BioShock
this is OG.
Remastered, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would argue that if you gave me a choice between BioShock and BioShock Infinite, because there's nothing in between those two, and don't
Nope.
you lie to me and tell me that there is.
Nope.
Between BioShock and BioShock Infinite, I will take original BioShock any day of the week.
100%.
Infinite was good. BioShock's better.
What year do we
So-
have next?
The year that we have next is
Are
2012.
we supposed to be comparing Baldur's Gate 3 to these?
Yeah, we are. We're building up to like
Okay.
what has made game of the year, and then we're gonna talk about why Baldur's Gate 3
Yeah.
is even better and more deserving than all of them.
Fair
I
enough.
I didn't particularly love this one. We're in 2012 now.
Mhm.
I did love it. It just it wasn't like the kind of game I was into at the time. I didn't play it also when it came out. The Walking Dead,
The Telltale
a
games?
telltale game.
Oh.
Yeah,
I was like,
a
okay.
telltale game.
I can't
Winning
believe
game
it.
of the year is
That's
huge to me.
insane. A visual novel.
yeah. Well, that kind of leads back to what we were into in 2012.
Yeah, it was. Also
That's when the
huge.
story-based game. That's when.
That's
when more like narrative-focused games were becoming the big thing. So you had The Walking Dead, Heavy Rain. Fuck, what are those other
It's-
David Cage games?
Do you know why that happened?
Because we all got sick of war.
Graphic fidelity had plateaued.
Oh yeah, I'll do it too.
Think about what generation we're talking about. That's Xbox 360 era, right?
Yeah.
How long was the Xbox 360 the primary console?
That's I love my 360. I have it sitting
like
next to
time
me.
between Xbox original and Xbox 360 and Xbox
Series
One.
X.
Yeah.
Oh, one.
Like
Sorry.
the 360
You're right.
had the longest lifespan.
It was. I mean, it was a
oh
great.
my
We
God,
still
yeah.
run ours. It's
Who's
nothing
that?
more than a very nice Netflix machine at this point. But like,
2005 to 2016.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What a
11-year
run.
where graphics plateaued. Everything looked great. So
And-
how do you
and mind
sell
you-
your game?
That's
You write a damn good story.
yep.
Yeah. Well. and
Then
I would like to
sorry.
point out that 26. Sorry, Sammy.
Mhm.
I'd like to point out that 2016 is when they discontinued production.
Okay.
So there was
wasn't
still
end of
selling 'em.
support.
yeah.
That was the end of the production runs.
Because that was the year they launched the Xbox One.
Was it?
Yeah, 2016.
Okay, yeah. Because the
With Halo
last
5.
model of the. Oh yeah, yep.
Then moving on to
Mhm.
2015, which this great game, Witcher 3.
Oh yeah.
Absolute
Put-
classic.
Put the baby in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
You like it's such a good.
There's so much of that game. That game is so influential that
It's a remarkable story.
They recreated a scene from it in the Netflix adaptation.
Well, also
bathtub.
Henry Cavill is just a
Oh, yeah.
nerd. Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
that
he-
bathtub
it was
scene
all
didn't
on
exist.
him, you knew
As far
that.
as I know, it doesn't exist in the books. But I haven't read the books, and I'm sure it'll be corrected in an angry email. But if it does exist in the books, awesome. As far as I'm aware, it's a shot-for-shot remake of the cutscene.
From my understanding, yeah.
And from what
I
I'm
haven't
aware
read
of, Henry Cavill likely insisted on that.
He had to. He's such a little nerd. I love that man.
Absolutely.
I'm-
I can't wait
I
to
am
see his
so
Warhammer stuff.
I'm very
Warhammer
excited for
shit
that.
is-
I
Oh my
literally
God.
just got some of the books for Warhammer because I want I want that knowledge.
You want the background on it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've
Yeah.
read all of the Halo books, and I love them very dearly. And I'm ready to start a new journey in the Warhammer world.
The Great Journey.
The
I-
great
the
journey.
The great
honest-
journey is upon us.
At least Halo has happy moments. There really isn't much happiness in 40K. It's grimdark and everybody dies.
I'm here for it. Except
Yeah.
even in Halo, the when people die. Oh, I'm not gonna do any spoilers, but there's some characters in those books that I cried hard,
think
and Alex
everyone
would come
cried.
home, and I would be in in the living room, and I would just be
In-
crying. And Shane, actually, this lovely asshole, spoiled a death for me. It was
Was it Dumbledore?
I can't. I'm not gonna spoil
It was
who
Dumbledore.
dies in case people are actively reading these books.
It's Dumbledore.
But you did
listeners.
ruin a death for me.
Oh, right. I did. Okay. In my defense.
No
I thought
defense.
It's indefensible. Moving on.
No,
Baldur's Gate
anger.
3. Greatest game.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Fair enough.
Greatest
Yeah.
game.
Okay. So
Yeah, Shane,
Putting
go.
The
You go
Witcher-
first.
I was going to say, putting The Witcher right before Baldur's Gate 3 is interesting because The Witcher, obviously touted by fans for its narrative, the narrative gameplay, the fact that you actually had to like put thought into your narrative
Morality.
choices
Your
Yeah.
choices
and
matter.
your morality, where your choices actually mattered to the story. It wasn't just the good thing about it wasn't like the Telltale games where your choices mattered and morality was a thing. Like you actually like had moral decisions. Like, yeah, I could kill this thing, but it's sentient.
Well, there was that guy. What was his name? The one who was suicidal throughout it.
Yeah.
You had the chance to. I mean, that really puts a big impact on you as a player, and
Puts you in a
Yeah.
very uncomfortable situation.
which isn't something you
BioWare-
expected out of games.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not since BioWare. Not since BioWare's heyday. Because not modern BioWare.
No, God, no. Not any modern day games, because I'm guessing people will be sitting here, well, Starfield. No, shut the hell up.
We'll talk the next episode. We're going to talk about AAA gaming. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Get those bingo cards ready.
Yeah.
Baldur's
So-
Gate 3, though, just they put so much of their hearts and souls into the game, and that's what that's why I would equip it like with The Witcher and everything.
Yeah.
You can tell that the developers really loved everything that they were doing with their whole heart and soul. Even, I mean, God, the voice actors. Oh, my Neil.
Did you see somebody asked Shadowheart's voice actress what she loved most about Baldur's Gate 3? Her response was, well, I met my girlfriend on the set
Oh,
Yeah.
or while recording.
Their streams playing together are some of my favorite content on Twitch. She's romancing herself in the game, and it's hilarious. It's so funny. It's so funny her watching her get so into romancing Shadowheart.
I hate how I'm blanking on his name right now, but the voice actor for Gale. I hate how Gale he is. Like he really, all of them are
it's,
very much just
Tim-
them, you know?
Tim Downey.
Yeah, they're all very much them, and it's just so.
They are
good.
like listening to some like Samantha Bayart has that like the cuddly Carlac energy in everything I've seen her in. I mean, we could go down a rabbit. I think perfect casting is maybe a good spot. It's a combination of I think perfect casting and the conscious choice to mocap every single dialogue line.
Yeah,
And
that was
besides
huge.
the
I think that
mocap,
helped a lot.
there's idle dialogue that tells you even more contextual information.
And just in
There's-
general, too,
yeah.
the amount of dialogue options. A different race can change everything. You can play. I've played
Oh my
that game,
God.
I think 7 different times now. I've beat it twice, but I've gone through other playthroughs.
Yeah.
7 different times now, and each time it has been so wildly different for me. I'm finding new things every single time.
I found
And
a line that exists only if you are a Lothsworn drow, dark urge character background, romancing Minthara.
That's such a detail. Like, it's so... God,
And it's and like every other line in the game, fully motion captured. Shane, what were you saying?
I don't know. I was gonna
The
add
ADHD.
something. Yeah, I was googling something about
His window
Shadowheart.
was open and the thought flew right out.
I'm so sorry.
No,
But
you're
the
good.
casting and
It
the
wasn't-
motion capture.
Mm. God, hysteria.
The fact that Baldur's Gate 3, right, comes out in a time where we, as gamers, are struggling to find things that make us want to keep going.
Yes.
And you and I were talking about this earlier with Call of Duty. Because we're both big first-person shooter players, Halo, Call of Duty, all that. I can't willingly... I don't want to willingly boot up Halo anymore.
I found
I really
myself
don't.
playing it more often, but only when the networking beta test playlists were on, and since they took it out, I have found the game remarkably less
Right.
enjoyable again.
Well, the game has that horrible networking. Call of Duty is just... I can't do the ADD movement of Call of Duty, man.
It's a combination of the ADD movement in Call of Duty, progression speed being artificially reduced to almost zero, and the game just constantly screaming at you, give us your money. Give us more of your money. Just give all of your money to us.
Well,
why didn't you give us more of your money? Don't you want the Black Cell Battle Pass? It's only $30.
And that's the thing, like, even games that aren't that, like, I guess this isn't really a good example, but
You can say
Blizzard
Fortnite?
relaunching
Oh.
Overwatch with Overwatch 2, locking characters behind paywalls.
Yeah.
Like, you are a
You
game that's
guys-
South
all
Park
about
might be doing that
balance.
too. South
You
Park's
guys
gonna
are
be
both-
locking classes behind the deluxe version of the game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's
I brought it up.
Mhm.
South Park Snow Day. Sorry, I'm going to
Yeah, he pinned it
Steam right now to,
so we could talk
to
about
bring
it.
it
yeah.
up.
Okay.
Um
did you?
So the digital deluxe edition includes cosmetic packs, weapon types, and a new game mode.
Yep.
Behind
Now
the
what that
deluxe
game mode
edition of
is,
this
we don't
game.
know yet. There's no real
And-
answer yet.
Knowing South Park, it could be something
Really
that
stupid.
is just taking
Like
the
big head
piss
mode.
out of everything.
Like a classic big head mode. Classic big head mode strikes me as like right up there.
Right.
Remember when you remember when games had cheat codes that did nothing but make the game
but I
funner?
loved them.
Like big head mode.
The old
head
Lego
mode,
games,
everything's
yeah, you could do
higher.
big head mode, just funny outfits and stuff.
Yeah.
Legos had those red bricks. Were
Mhm.
like, I lived for that shit, man. Like,
Yeah.
You mean I can have everybody just run at 20 times speed? I'm in. Let's
Yeah.
go. It's goofy. It's silly.
Yeah.
Give everybody tails? Bet.
Oh yeah.
We could do it with mods now, but
Yeah,
It's
and
not
it
the
just doesn't
same.
It's not the
feel
same.
the same.
It's not
It's not the
baked
same
in.
as sitting there.
I started modding.
It's not compatible
like,
and
up,
baked
up, down,
in.
left, right, BA, start.
Right.
I started using mods for Stardew Valley for the first time. I had been avoiding it, but I've been really craving Stardew, and he's coming out with an update soon. And not soon, quotes.
Soon.
Soon.
But so I didn't want to like start a new vanilla playthrough all over again. Then he releases this new farm, and I've already Stardewed out. So
Yeah.
I thought I would do the mods for the first time. I had a delightful time for the first hour, but then the mods went to my head, and I was like, well, I can just get whatever items I want. I can do all these things, and then immediately, I think I had another 35 minutes until I cheated to the point where I no longer was having fun in the game anymore.
I was
Like
watching a
mods
buddy
are
of mine
just
play
too
Baldur's
much
Gate
power
with
for
that
me.
many mods on, and I don't think I would enjoy the game with make it easier mods.
No, I didn't. I thought for a second
Not
it
that
would be
they're
nice.
bad. I want to really clarify before again we get flooded with
Yeah.
hate mail. I don't
I
think
thought
they're
it would
bad.
be nice to just like
just don't
fill
like it.
out the community center and everything and get it done right away. But then that's like the whole point of your first year of the game, and so it just
Yeah.
I don't have the resolve to do mods unfettered like that. I will
Yeah.
just go overboard too quickly.
Right. And I mean, again, it just doesn't bring that same amount of joy that entering the code does.
The journey
But you have
is
other games.
the journey is the destination,
It's that
right?
it's
Yeah.
that immediate satisfaction of seeing like the money going up, but not long term. It's like
Yeah.
now I'm sad because I'm rich and I don't have to do any of these things. That
It's
is
like
the
being
actual
born
part of
into
the
money.
game. Oh shit!
Ooh.
Oh, shit.
Eat the rich.
Ooh.
Bingo card.
other
Putting it on.
on the subject of mods, though, other games kind of need them. Like, think
Skyrim?
of how fun Skyrim.
Lethal Company
Lethal
is
Company is a
huge
great
with
example.
mod. That is so much better with mods.
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree.
Because, like, the base game is fun, and I've been enjoying playing it vanilla again. Because we have a friend who just got the game, figured let's take them through vanilla just so they can get the idea of it. But modded Lethal Company is the way to go. Also,
It's so much more fun.
Yeah.
the fact that a game made by a single developer is outselling Call of Duty is...
Stay tuned for our episode on AAA gaming.
Yeah, I'm...
We're
It's
gonna
gonna
get there.
be-
Don't you worry.
It's going to be the only topic next week because we're going to
Yeah.
spend the whole show on it.
Putting
we'll
it
talk
on
about it
hard.
We got
Um,
feelings.
So going
And
back to Baldur's
3
Gate
will
then.
show up again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's that'll be a bingo square. As far as the game itself, one of the other big advantages that it has is a wealth of lore to pull from that
Oh, yeah.
they didn't have to cultivate. They formally licensed, and the game is canon. Did you know?
Yeah.
Did you know that there was a dispute about the year El Terrell fell that arose because of the context of this game? And the official wikis have been updated to clarify that the date set in Baldur's Gate 3 is the canon
the
date
date?
for the collapse of El Terrell.
Nice.
Oh, I've played D&D for a very long time,
Yeah.
and I have only done homebrews though. I think I started back in like 2009 was the first time I started playing around that era, but it's always been homebrew. So I didn't know a lot of these things.
Oh, there's
And so
references to every
I-
official 5e campaign in this game.
A mutual friend of ours asked that I would download Neverwinter and play it with them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know Baldur's Gate. Like, I just didn't know all these things. So when I booted up Neverwinter and I saw like Waterdeep and everything, I was like, oh, wait, this is before. Is this all? And that's when I got into my deep dive of, oh, everything's fucking connected. There's so much.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, I had no idea. Because again,
Yeah.
I've just always done things just made up, from my friends. I've never been a DM, but my boyfriend or my fiance is a DM. Yeah. And he's great. One of these days I'll have to grab
Mine
one of
too.
his books that he has, because he handwrites full books. It's insane, and it draws the maps and the characters and the creatures, and it's great shit. But yeah, so like when we booted up Neverwinter and I saw all of the areas and actual Baldur's Gate and shit, I was like, oh my god, there's more. I genuinely had no idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the whole thing. So Larian's other games have been great.
Divinity is such
Divinity.
a deep universe.
It is. But the problem is booting up Divinity as somebody
After
who
playing
plays like,
Baldur's Gate.
well, even before playing Baldur's Gate, trying to get into Divinity, trying to figure out how the fuck this D&D, I don't want to say knockoff because that's not fair to Divinity.
It's a competitive high fantasy tabletop RPG.
Okay. Yeah. That.
It's like
But-
Pathfinder. It's like any number of high fantasy setting TTRPGs.
No, that's fair. But it plays a lot like D&D, but trying to
They're all
figure out
technically
how
D&D clones that have sets people.
everything works in that game.
Yeah,
And
that
the
was my
lore
struggle.
of that game is the struggle. And then going into Baldur's Gate, where you now as a D&D player, you get to see this is what Fireball looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that how
Um,
Dwergar is pronounced?
Yeah. Or, oh, that's what this place looks like.
Let me
it-
tell you, when we got to a certain crypt early on in the game, and Tori said, "Wait a minute, I know that holy symbol. Isn't that Jurgle?"
Yeah.
Redacting
I
spoilers
used it.
because
I even-
Withers'
yeah.
identity is like a really fun journey for you as a player to explore.
Oh, I love my little homie withers.
Yeah.
I actually used it as well because we were going to be starting a new D&D campaign, and I had an idea for a cleric, but I've never actually played as a cleric in all my other previous times.
Yeah.
So I booted up Baldur's Gate and started a cleric character because then I could just get more comfortable with it when we're playing, sitting down at a table. And it worked great. And Patty's a lovely woman, and we love her very much.
Oh, Patty's great.
Patty's great. Oh, she just loves
She's a
you.
sweetheart.
Oh, a real nice Midwest mom, you know. Except for, I don't like to swear, but fuck Carol. She makes terrible blueberry pies.
I'm gonna be leveraging Raphael as the big bad of my tabletop game.
Oh, I love that.
When I go back to DMing, my table had just finished up playing the Tourney of Dragons, which is a 2-book adventure where you stop a cult from summoning Tiamat, which is a very bad big evil dragon, and then you deal with the aftermath. Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You deal with Tiamat and then you deal with the aftermath. That campaign reference, by the way, in Baldur's Gate is Will's story of how he got his pact.
Okay.
That's a reference to the final battle at the end of that campaign. Well, my players told me, well, we wanna go to hell and see if we can kill Tiamat there. I said, okay, you guys want to go to hell? Descent into Avernus is a great setting book. There's tons of stuff that we could work with from there. And then I was like, I'm playing Baldur's Gate the other day, and we're talking about how patient Raphael is. And I was like, huh, you know what? Here's a great villain. Why write my own villain when I can give additional life to an even better villain who exists in the canon?
Use a different IP. Yeah.
Well, and that's
and if you're not a D&D player, you don't have to have this knowledge. It's all buried in the game. That's the best part. If you read every book, you read all the books and the notes, you'll know more about D&D than most people I've played D&D with.
You don't even have to. I have a friend who's never played D&D. She's never really interested in it. I convinced her to get this game. She's been having an amazing time. Like, it's not a game that you need to know anything else about. You're going to have fun with it. Like, it's just, I love it.
It's an immersive storytelling experience.
They wrote the characters so well. The gameplay itself, like, even if you're not there for the story, the actual gameplay, like the tactical gameplay of it.
Oh, yeah.
Is fantastic.
The existence of honor mode by itself.
Yeah, because doesn't that basically turn this into XCOM with the permadeath and everything?
To an extent, yeah.
Yeah. Also, there's a callback to a game we'll never talk about.
100%. So deserved, in everybody's opinion, 100% deserved game of the year.
Absolutely.
I would have been, if they were pushing Alan Wake really hard and Spider-Man. Hang on.
I can't speak on Spider-Man. I don't own a PlayStation.
I haven't played the new one. The first one was really good.
Watching all of their reactions to Baldur's Gate,
God,
it was delicious. I loved it. No one's even heard of that game. Yes,
that's what I wanted to bring up now. Like, I think everybody here, nobody here thinks that it didn't deserve Game of the Year.
Correct.
Of course not. Yes.
So here's to 2024. The year of 1,000 terrible Baldur's Gate clones.
Oh, I was going to say, though, I think that might happen, but based off of how Witcher 3 was, we didn't get a lot of clones of it because people knew there's just no way that they were going to compete.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that people are also going to be like, that's way too much work.
Well, here's the other thing. Games like Baldur's Gate have existed before Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Like,
similar with...
Here's the old school BioWare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Realistically, here's to the year of the RPG.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
May we see its swift return.
Yeah.
God, I would love that. Bring me more.
Single player games resurfacing again.
I'd like to see more games that can run offline.
Oh, games I could just play by myself and enjoy and not. Oh, yes.
Or games
bring me back.
Play with like like 4 of my friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's all I want is a good co-op game.
It doesn't even have to.
Yeah.
I don't want to play against anyone.
Yeah.
One of the biggest problems we have when I am trying to play games with a lot of my friends is half of them you need a larger lobby.
Mhm.
And if it's only you and one or other person or 2 other people, it's inconvenient and annoying.
Yep.
How many times we like have you and I sat there and be like, let's play Among Us?
But you
And
can't
it's like
because
you
it's
can't
because
you need at least 5 and
you can play it
playing-
online, but it sucks. I'm not
Who's
going
gonna
to do
play
that.
Among Us with randoms on the internet?
Well,
What are
that's
you?
the whole thing.
11?
Me and our buddy Xander have started playing Helldivers, which is a 4-player cooperative twin stick shooter, which a new one is coming out this year. It's now a 3rd-person shooter for 4 players.
That sounds pretty
That's-
cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's super hard. The tagline is "Death is cheap." You can definitely accidentally kill your friends with airstrikes. And it's
I
great.
would like more games in the style of like Raft and Grounded and Forest and
Yeah.
things like that, like survival base builder style
I'd
games.
like Raft Light. Raft was too intense for me. I
Like-
kept
like a
forgetting to
Fortnite?
drink water, and it was
That's not on Raft. That's on you.
so you could watch the. I'll find the video. There's a video clip of me somewhere, like having an almost panic attack over trying to manage cooking 6 different fish and remembering to drink water at the same time.
I will say
my
when it
God.
comes to Raft, because I've got quite a few hours in it. Raft is a game that benefits with more people. It's not something
That's-
that's fun by yourself.
Yeah, I have Raft. We both have Raft. We could do.
I have Raft, too.
night.
I would do a
Okay.
Raft night. It is more, you will have a lot more fun with it because when you have one person managing catching all materials, one
My
person
job is
handling
cook.
food things,
My job is cook. That's
Yeah.
all I do. I cook. And
one
that is
person
the
in
end
charge
it.
of navigation,
I
and then
remember
the
to drink
fucker that
water.
stabs the shark.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to do that hand motion ever again while
Um,
we're recording.
That's a special gift for the video viewers. And a terrific transition to our introduction of the second half of the show, which will be, we call it hyperfixation hour. All
We'll
three
do
of
this to
us,
cap out the episode every single time, so don't
Yes.
worry.
every week, we're going to end the episode with each of us doing a short little rabbit hole on something that we are temporarily hyperfixated on. Because that's part of being an adult who has ADD or ADHD. And you know what? If you use it to learn something, it's not really a problem. So
Yeah,
with
I
that
would
in
agree.
mind, Sami, what's your hyperfixation for the week?
It's not so much that this is something for the week, but it's something I brought up to
What's
you
your
guys and you had
hyperfixation
never
topic
heard
of
of.
the week?
Yeah,
rather?
you never had heard of this, and I feel
Yeah.
the need
Hit
to
me.
teach you guys about lips.
I want to learn something.
We're gonna learn about dinosaur lips. There is a huge debate in the paleo art world for a really long time on if dinosaurs had lips or not. And there were some papers that were released earlier last year that like really kind of shut it down and put it in its place that we can pretty definitively say that dinosaurs did have lips. And it's not like the kind of lips that you're thinking of like articulate lips like us.
So
It's-
you're
it's-
telling
it's-
me T-Rexes didn't hold hands and kiss under the moonlight?
They couldn't. They no. Unfortunately, they couldn't hold hands. But so it'd be lips like a monitor lizard, and the whole like thought process by like their reasoning on why is because one, the wear and tear on the teeth. Because the people who thought they didn't have lips, their arguments were that they're going to be more similar to like crocodiles. When you look at like the teeth of an animal, I have a skull. The teeth of an animal that has lips. There's a lot like it's smoother and everything. And when you look at like a crocodile's tooth, I sent you a thing. The wear on the outside of it from being rubbed up on things.
Could you send it
it's
in the
stuff like
other
that.
chat as well?
I
Yes.
can.
Thank you. And I'll pull it up.
It's an image, so it helps like break it down a little bit better. And
Yeah,
the
we'll pull up a visual link
T-Rex
for the
on the
video-
right is
for the video
hilarious to me.
viewers at home.
Basically the wear and tear on the teeth, comparing it to monitor lizards versus crocodiles, T-Rex's wear and tear of their teeth is more similar to that of a monitor lizard, an animal that has lips to protect the actual teeth. The other reasoning then as well is on skulls I have to pull up my own camera so I can see what I'm pointing things at. But on skulls, there's holes that go around the lip areas, lots of perforations. You can see it on this lower jaw pretty
I'm pulling
well.
up the visual aid now. And enabling. Here you go. So here's what we're talking about: lips versus no lips.
And these holes are where nerve endings go through and out skulls, like veins as well. And because of the way T-Rexes were versus monitor lizards versus crocodiles, we can deduce that they would have had covering, lips, things like that. So when you see, from now on, when you see art of dinosaurs and you can see their teeth, you will now know that's wrong. That's not right. They drew it wrong. It was a very fun debate for a long time. And I'm very excited to see all of the new artwork on this. The also fun part on the one artwork that I shared, paleontologist commented how the dinosaur on the right, in order for its jaw to be fitted like that, it would have to be broken first.
Interesting.
That it has a broken
So
jaw
to have
in
all
order
their
to
little
be closed.
teepees hanging out over the top is
to be
is
closed,
just
yeah, they would have had to break
incompatible.
their jaw first. It wouldn't work.
Huh.
So that's my little fun tidbit. I have one more artwork of it that I really enjoy that shows the difference in shows the difference in like the artworks of it. And if one person gets at me for either of these artworks not depicting feathers on them, I will personally fight you. Because I know. I see it too. Shut up.
That's a different rabbit hole.
It's a whole different thing, and
pull
I'll
up this image as well for the
rant
viewers at
about
home.
that on a different day.
That's
This
for next week.
is the image in question.
It's beautiful artwork.
Tifi's
though.
bad. No Tifi's good.
What did they have in Land Before? What did the T-Rexes have in Land Before Time?
I think the Predators showed
In
teeth.
Land Before Time, they showed teeth. In Jurassic Park, they also showed teeth. And also, the Land Before Time, first of all, Chomper, my man. Love Chomper. His parents, fucking terrifying. Like, the way, there was a scene where his mom, because like they like reconcile with Littlefoot and everything, and Chomper's mom licks Littlefoot. And I like, as a child, could smell that spit. Like, I just, for some reason, the way they animated it made me icky.
Okay, so I looked it up, right?
Okay.
Because now I'm curious, because Land Before Time is a core memory for me. There is an actual scene in Land Before Time where it shows, like, yes, most of the time the two Rexes that are Chomper's parents, you know, have their teeth bared because they're supposed to be scary. And then this image exists where it has lips.
Oh my god.
I remember that. You're right. That was Dad.
We'll pull this up. Here we go. This is
the cartoon.
You heard it
version
here,
of the
Forrest.
this is a
You
cartoon
heard it
from
here.
1990, 1992, 1993?
Well, this was the Big Water episode.
Yeah.
The Big Water one. And I think that was
Yeah.
one of the later movies to have come out.
T-Rexes
They have like
with
13
lips.
movies or something now.
That's incredible.
Oh my god, I forgot they had a Giganotosaurus in Land Before Time.
Total side note. And then we'll move on to next rabbit hole.
Yes.
What's your guys' favorite dinosaur so I can judge you?
Ooh.
I will post a photo of mine.
I'm going to be honest with you. I really like nautiloids. I think they're super neat.
We'll discuss terminology of dinosaur later, but that's a very good one.
Mm-hmm.
I
consider living dinosaurs to be dinosaurs.
I mean, that's fair. Alligators technically were alive at the time of dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna grab a random
But
artwork.
I am always a fan of the spitting dinosaur from Jurassic Park, whose name currently escapes me.
I think that one that they did was Diplodocus.
Yeah,
Probably. It's in D&D.
Is it
Yeah. Yeah, it's an available wild shape, and they're native to Chult.
Therizinosaurus. I'm probably butchering that. I've heard it pronounced multiple different ways over the years. But this guy, I'm so tempted to run and grab it.
Isn't that the one from the new movie
which new movie?
The newest Jurassic World?
I don't think I've seen the newest one, actually.
Oh, I'm pretty sure this one shows up.
These guys are just, I love them. They weren't carnivores or anything. They're just delightful little plant guys that would get fucking angry. Don't get near me. They were huge. They are much bigger than you are thinking that this guy is. Here's a photo of, just so you can see the sheer size of these guys. Big fan. Why have you done this? Me?
Yes, this one was in the newest Jurassic
Was
World
it?
movie.
I haven't seen the newest one yet. That's on me. But
Well, they kind of make it a carnivore, which is weird.
It is weird.
Hunts
there
one of
are
the main
other
characters?
species that are similar looking to them, so you could be thinking
It calls it a. I'm not even.
Tyrannosaurus. Yeah.
Yeah, it calls it that, and it looks pretty much like that, but without the fluffy tail.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway,
Excellent.
sorry.
That was,
But
it was
yeah.
a fun little tangent.
And tangent. Move on to next tangent.
All right, Shane, what's your rabbit hole for the week?
Pass. Come back to me.
We will come back. I've got something fun that NASA announced right around the end of last year that didn't really
I'm
get a lot
so
of
excited
coverage.
to hear about this.
I would like to point out that all I see in our document is NASA space laser, and I'm just
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
like, what in the Cobra Commander are
Okay.
you about to bring up?
Okay, so NASA has been up to all sorts of really, really cool shenanigans last year that didn't nearly get enough coverage. One of the things that they did was at the end of last year, they successfully tested a laser communications relay that they set up in orbit around Earth that can transmit data. I pulled up the article so I can get the speeds. Let me see. I don't think it's actually hit. Yes, at 1.2 gigabit per second.
That's
faster internet than most people have at home.
Yeah, that's insane. Holy crap.
And we're talking about using lasers to relay data from probes, additional missions, or satellites to the relay satellite, which then retransmits it, amplifies and retransmits it to the ground receiving team. And it's a two-way communication. If this scales if it scales just linearly, which there's going to be some drop off because we're talking, even though space is a near vacuum, not a perfect vacuum. And because it's a near vacuum and gravitational lensing, there's a lot of things that can impact, especially if we're talking about like trying to use this to communicate with a probe that's as far out as, let's say, Voyager. It could cut the communication time down to for our Mars rovers 50%.
That's
awesome.
and
there's a
that's
7-minute delay to each direction to Mars. So if you send a command to the Mars, have you ever had a bad time playing a game with like 100 ping on a multiplayer lobby?
Uh-huh.
The ping to Mars is 7,000. No,
Oh my
I'm sorry.
God.
No. What's it's milliseconds. What's 7 minutes in milliseconds?
Alexa, what's 7 minutes in milliseconds?
420,000 milliseconds.
So it's 420,000 ping to control the Mars rover. With laser communication, it's about 3 minutes each way.
That's insane. Holy crap.
So they already do this with radio, which
I mean,
moves
just think
quickly, but
about-
there's a lot of things, there's a lot of like background noise in space that impacts radio communication. Laser communication is much harder to interfere with. Because it's just light.
It's obviously huge for the Mars rover, and other distance rovers that we send out.
Yeah.
But I feel like this makes things easier as well for actual people in space, where it gives us the opportunity to
Establish
people
nearer real-time communication.
Yeah, which is huge.
The best part about all of it is the video that they streamed a 4K video from us. Like they had launched a satellite with this video payload on its onboard computer system in anticipation of testing it. They streamed a 4K video feed from space using this laser array on the ground at gigabit speeds. And the video is a video. It's got like a bunch of like test stuff on it, like color tests and stuff like that. But it's also it's a cat chasing a feather toy.
I love that.
And you can watch the video on NASA's website.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out.
It is
I'm here for cat videos.
Cool. It is so cool. So we're NASA, and especially with the moon landing that they the lunar mission that they just launched. Not the lunar landing was pushed off a full 12 calendar months. But we've got 3 boots on the moon missions planned for the next 10 years. And we just sent our first mission to the moon in, 10 or 15? To bury Gene Roddenberry on the fucking moon!
I love that.
Did you know that?
I wish.
That rocket that just
know
launched has the Roddenberries on it.
Someone.
They're being buried on the moon. Oh,
No,
Sammy,
it's not,
the
because-
Navajo are very upset.
Are they?
Yes. They
I
consider
must
this
have missed out on all of this.
This is a huge deal. They consider it sacrilegious and defacement of the moon, and they vehemently opposed NASA's decision to include space burials. And it's become such an issue that NASA has promised to include them in future communication or plans regarding additional space burials.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's both of the Roddenberrys, Arthur C. Clarke, and a very impactful NASA scientist whose name escapes me.
Isn't that lander having like problems right now?
It might be.
Because I'm like 90% sure I just saw an article.
Well, if Gene Roddenberry is on board, it'll be resolved by the end of the episode, so we just have to wait.
Because this is the Peregrine Moonlander, right?
Yep. Yeah, the Peregrine
So-
has a payload of human remains. It's ashes, but human remains.
Per USA Today,
Mm-hmm.
for this article on USA Today, the Peregrine spacecraft designed and operated by Pittsburgh Aerospace Company, hitched a ride above United Launch Alliance's new Vulcan rocket.
Yeah, the
Yes.
Vulcan one is the one that has 250 capsules of human ashes.
Yep.
So, Peregrine began powering its way towards the moon. It has a problem with its propulsion system.
Interesting. I wonder if they'll resolve that before they get to lunar orbit. They have contingency plans for things like this, so it'll enter lunar orbit for a certain number of orbits for diagnostic.
It's leaking a critical amount of propellant. And
Well,
it
it'll
has
eventually
dashed
get to the
any-
moon.
It has dashed any hopes of it landing on the moon.
No. It's dashed any hopes of landing safely on the moon. It's still on a lunar trajectory that I don't
Fair.
think. I think
We're gonna
they're
have
beyond the
a
point.
Martian situation.
Well, I think it's more that they're beyond the point. I think they're
it's
beyond the
almost
point where they
it's gonna
need
be
to course correct.
uncontrollable soon.
It'll be an uncontrolled landing, and they will crash
it
land
is-
on the lunar surface. I don't think they'll miss the moon though.
from this article, it sounds like they're about to they're doing all they can to maintain whatever.
Maintain course. Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
the weight,
And
yeah,
it's
because the
about-
loss of mass is going to impact trajectory.
Well,
Mm.
and it's apparently this thing runs on solar. Because it's going to lose its sun pointing ability, according to the article.
Fascinating.
Before any of you at me for he didn't do his research.
Podcast
I
at
literally saw this
jorts.tech.
article this morning on the toilet.
Okay. Legit.
Thank you for the details.
You're welcome.
It was important to know.
Huh.
He does all
but-
of his best research on the John.
The propellant leak is causing the thrusters to operate well beyond their expected service life cycle to keep the lander from entering an uncontrolled tumble. If the thrusters can continue to operate, we believe the spacecraft can continue in a stable sun pointing state for approximately 40 hours based on current fuel consumption. At this time, the goal is to get Peregrine as close to lunar distance as we can
Yeah.
before it loses the ability to maintain sun pointing position and subsequently loses power.
And then once it loses power, it's just at the behest of gravity.
And it may hit the moon, it may miss.
Be
I
hilarious
honestly think it'd
if
be
it
really
missed,
funny if Gene Roddenberry missed the moon.
the moon. Yeah.
Isn't
that an episode of Star Trek?
I don't. Probably.
I think there's a TNG episode where they find an asteroid with a bunch of cryopods in it, or a floating derelict vessel with a bunch of cryopods in it, and there are a bunch of rich people who have themselves frozen until the future. And one of
I
them was
remember
Amelia
that.
Earhart.
That's actually really funny.
It's one of my
I-
favorite episodes of TNG. Just like one of the early seasons of Next Generation.
I
It's
am going to
fantastic.
be starting Star Trek soon, so
Great
Alex
show.
has been insistent on it.
It's a
I was
great
always
show.
a Doctor Who kid.
And that's okay.
The fact that we're even going back to the moon at this point is fantastic. I love
yeah.
space exploration.
Yeah.
I thought, though...
I wish we did a little more ocean exploration. That's a whole other.
We'll do an episode on the ocean.
We'll
we
do
can-
that.
we can talk about ocean versus space exploration, because I think both are important.
I could make a whole episode out of that easily.
Oh, yeah.
Though I find it interesting that they launched that lander via a Vulcan rocket.
Yeah.
Considering, aren't they literally... Didn't they just test Artemis 1? Which is supposed to be the new, lunar rocket.
So the Artemis program's been put on 12-month hold.
Lovely.
Yeah. It's actually a collaborative move so they can integrate research from some of the commercial partners. Weirdly
Okay, so
enough,
they can literally bring in
Blue
SpaceX
Origin,
and-
SpaceX, they are Virgin, they're all being very collaborative, which is nice to see.
Well, and I think that's partly because if you really think about it, they're all going for the same.
They're all
publicly
space
traded company.
nerds.
Yeah.
You don't work someplace like that long if you're not a space nerd, because
Right.
being around space nerds, if you're not a space nerd, is fucking exhausting. Source.
It-
I'm a space nerd.
Also,
People
I'm a
don't like
space nerd.
talking about it with me. And I get it. That's okay.
I understand.
Don't work at NASA. Don't work at Blue Origin. Don't work at SpaceX. Definitely just nobody don't work. Everybody just don't work at SpaceX.
So
Make your own SpaceX. Make Space Y.
Blackjack
Make
and
Space
hookers.
X plus one.
With blackjack and hookers, yeah, I was gonna
Space
say.
SpaceX plus plus.
I had to think of what my hyperfixation, because
Yeah, that's okay.
I've been focusing on flight stuff a lot, making sure I keep my knowledge up, because I have a
Okay.
big check ride coming up here.
Is there anything weird going on in the aviation world right now?
Nothing. I mean, there's always something weird going on in the aviation world.
Didn't something just happen with that Red Bull guy? Wasn't there an update in that guy who crashed his plane on purpose? There was an update in
that
that
asshole.
case.
Yeah, he's going to prison.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
If you aren't familiar with that guy, hang on. I'm fucking say his name, because other aviation YouTubers do.
Yeah, go for it. Fuck him. It's public record. He's going to jail. so some context for the listeners while we pull up the details of this. There was a Red Bull stunt pilot who intentionally crashed his not a Red Bull pilot. Okay,
he was not a Red Bull stunt pilot.
Okay,
the Red Bull pilots lost their license.
Okay.
If you didn't know about that, they were going to do a swap jump. Basically, they jumped out of each other's planes
and jump.
The FAA told them absolutely the fuck not.
Yeah,
and they did it anyway.
Ooh.
So they lost their licenses.
Got it. Separate incident.
Yeah, separate incident. This motherfucker, Trevor Jacob, he was an extreme sports athlete. He is now in jail he was jailed for 6 months. For deliberately crashing his plane into the mountains of California. That's not why he went to jail. He's an idiot for it. The man deliberately lied to the investigators from the FAA and the NTSB.
Yeah, didn't he say it was an accident?
Well, yeah. Okay. If you haven't seen the
video's hilarious. It's like a 5th grade
did a
project.
Collaboration with Ridge Wallet. There's a promotion that he was doing or something. There was a YouTube contract that had to be fulfilled, and he figured he'd do this video.
For a wallet? Look, your wallet's so good. I can crash my plane.
The sponsorship requirements are make an episode, tell the viewers the episode is sponsored by us. End of contract.
Yeah, that's the contract. That has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the reason he put the video up.
Yep.
Because this dipshit went up with GoPros strapped to his plane, which isn't an uncommon thing for those of you who watch aviation YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
People do that all the time. They have GoPros in the cockpit on the wing, create some really cool shots.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm on aviation YouTube. I don't actually make content, but I love it. So he has this GoPros, and he is wearing a parachute. You don't do that.
Yeah, why would you be wearing it if you thought everything was fine?
Well, it's like a life preserver when you're on a boat.
You don't wear a parachute in that type of plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not an aerobatic plane.
Out of curiosity, how common is it for there to be a parachute in a cockpit? Is that just in the movies? That's
not in any plane I've ever flown in. Has there been a parachute?
Just in Bond movies. Got it.
Yeah.
Heard.
You're basically only required to have a parachute if you're doing like aerobatics.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm talking
crazy shit.
Like Red Bull aerobatics.
Right.
So this guy fakes an engine failure over the mountains of California. And goes, "Oh shit, I've lost my engine. I have to bail out. But first, let me grab my selfie stick and jump out of the plane with my parachute that I was wearing for some reason on this normal routine flight."
Now I'm no pilot, but I've got a question for you. When you're learning how to fly an airplane, do you learn how to handle an unexpected loss of engine power?
You do.
Okay, cool.
You know what you do?
I'm assuming it's not grab your selfie stick and jump out of the airplane.
It is not grab your selfie stick and jump out of the fucking airplane.
You smack the console and turn it back on again?
You know, that would probably work better. No, okay. As an actual like pilot, what you should be doing at all times while flying, and this is hard to do in the mountains, is always scanning for a safe place to land in case of an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair.
Obviously, again, hard to do in the mountains, but
Sierra Nevada is
undoable.
Sierra Nevada means snowy teeth, like saw teeth. That's why the mountain range is called that, because it looks like a saw sticking up out of the ground.
But so this dude jumps out with his selfie stick, and the plane just, goes into the mountain and crashes. And he reports it to the NTSB, like, I had an engine failure. And they're like, okay, you have to like maintain the wreckage. So he went out with a helicopter at some point, because they went out to the coordinates. He's like, I don't remember where it was. They were like, okay, well, we can't find the wreckage of the plane. This man had gone out with a helicopter, picked up the wreckage, and basically like cut it up and distributed it in garbage bins like he was hiding a goddamn body.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah. He is he is in a lot of trouble. Anyway,
Jeez.
that was not my hyperfixation. That was just a weird fucking tangent. I've been looking into home bowling alleys.
Nice.
That is true.
Let's go.
Wait, we're putting bowling on the
Bowling has
goddamn
got to be
bingo
on
card.
the bingo card. Bowling is a bingo space.
And-
Just so everyone knows, we're all avid bowlers.
Yes.
Yes. All of us.
Big
What's
time.
I'm
that, Rich?
shocked it took us this long.
Yeah. We made it an
Um,
hour and 39 minutes without talking about
since
bowling.
I was a wee Shane, I have wanted a bowling alley in my house, so I have started looking into it for the inevitability of building a house later in life.
I love that.
I also don't want string pin setters
I
because
agree.
I'm not a
They're-
heathen.
They're evil.
So I have been looking into the Brunswick GSX NX, or what the fuck is it?
Is it a full
It's the-
60-foot lane?
Yeah, it's full bowling
Nice.
alley. Fun fact, you can buy a bowling alley in your
Mhm.
house, 2 lanes, with an actual pin setter.
Yeah.
Like a Brunswick pin setter.
Yeah.
For $180,000.
And the lane machine, like the oil machines, like $5,000 used.
That's far too close to worth it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like you
And the thing is too, is the more lanes you buy, the price per lane starts going down. When you're opening up a whole center, it's about $20,000 a pair.
We
Yeah.
almost bought a bowling alley 3 years ago. There was one for sale local to us, and me and Alex really considered purchasing it and getting into the bowling industry that way, but ultimately decided against it. Just the building wasn't good.
Right. Well, that's the thing,
Yeah.
like, there's Kettle Moraine Bowl that just closed near us.
Well, because the other thing that I loved about it is that it was still wooden lanes. It didn't have synthetic lanes. I am a sucker for my wooden lanes. Tragically, they are now changing the person who bought it. I love her. She's very sweet, but it's easier to make. There's a reason everyone switched.
Yes.
She's switching to synthetic lane this summer.
It's easier
so
to maintain.
And newer balls just move so much on wood that
Yeah.
it's almost unplayable for modern equipment.
people have problems with it, and yeah, it's
That's why I keep a hard rubber spare ball in my bag, though. My
These
spare ball is
lanes
hard rubber
also-
for when I go and I find someplace with actual wood lanes. I've got like a 40-year-old hard rubber ball.
these lanes
Nice.
haven't been sanded in probably 10 years, and all of my ball.
Oh.
Alex just got a new ball last year. I will have to send you guys a photo. It is damaged. Dinged, scratched. It looks like it's been being used for 10 years now. Like the ball
Yeah.
looks aged. Tragic.
But yeah, so I
That's
have
super
been
cool.
Yeah,
That's fun.
I've been looking into home bowling alleys and found out that the pin setter that you get is a Brunswick GS NXT pin setter.
You heard it here, Faust. The first 100 subscribers to this podcast are invited to Shane's house building party,
Yes.
where we're gonna have a bowling tournament.
Yes.
9
9-pin tap in Shane's
all
basement.
on 9-pin tap, all on Shane. He'll buy 10 kegs.
Yep.
No,
Milwaukee's best.
please don't.
All Milwaukee's. No,
God.
we'll get beer 30.
Beer
Either way.
30.
What-
Oh, Lord.
Hams.
But so I was looking into this because I was like, okay, because
That's a
notoriously,
joke.
right?
I need to clarify that.
Yeah, that
All
is
right.
super a joke. 'Cause I had to look into it because I remember, being a kid bowling and calling the maintenance guy down, like going up to the counter, like, hey, there's something wrong with the pin setter. And the maintenance guy had to go out there and like work on the pin setter. And
I
shut
work
down,
on them
like,
now. They're
4
still a
lanes.
pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I
you
work
were-
at I help the bowling alley now, and I have to run back there and fix all of it. We have the AMF lanes, and they are Such a pain in the
Are
ass.
You ever tried
are
working
you-
on the old machines from the 60s? That's what I worked on in college.
Well, that's the thing. Are you working on the old rotating drum lanes or like the new ones with the like conveyor?
Rotating
lift system?
drum.
Okay.
Those are the
See,
worst.
This one has like a
It's like a pick and
conveyor
place.
lift system.
Yeah.
That would be nice. Fancy. Ooh.
Yeah, the
like if
rotating
you watch that
drums are
video, you can.
horrifying.
That's like the newest.
Oh, it's spooky.
Well, and that's the thing. They very specifically in the video I sent you guys mention the fact that pin setters notoriously kill people.
Oh, I've got a funny story for you about my second day working at the bowling alley.
The owner of the bowling alley, I think it was 4 days after she bought the place, she had longer hair like mine. She cut it down to shoulder length because her hair got stuck in one of the machine parts, and thankfully, her son was there and able to turn the machine off right away. But if she was alone, there are horror stories of people being decapitated.
Yeah.
Oh, I
working
love
on
this.
bowling
You can
machines.
have it set your spare back up for you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
The place where
It's
I work
kind of-
does it like where everybody else does, where the mechanic goes back
gotta go
behind the
back
lane,
there.
sets the machine, and knocks them all over with a big fucking stick.
But that's the thing. If you have to go under it at all, the tray,
That's not safe.
it
Spooky
can kill
scary.
you. This one has like an easy, like you have to put like a hydraulic jack on the lane to make sure you don't die.
So here's my funny story about pin setter machines to cap the episode off. When I was 14, there were 3 jobs you could get in my town at 14. You could be a coach at the Boys and Girls Club, coaching like kiddo soccer. You could work at the grocery store doing carts, or you could work at the bowling alley. And I worked at the bowling alley. And on my second day of work, should start this off with, I was a very small child. Like, at this time, I was not even 4'10", and I must have weighed 75 pounds, so dripping wet. I was a very small, frail individual. I was not what you would call cool or athletic or had a lot of friends in high school. But I had a job at the bowling alley. And on my second day of work, some kid had got their 6-pound ball you've seen this 1,000 times if you've ever
gets
worked or been
stuck.
to a bowling alley. It's just sitting up against
They
the
don't
pocket.
go back. Yeah.
It didn't move fast enough to tell the laser that a ball has crossed its path. So the guy at the desk, who at the time must have been 16, 17 years old, told
Ain't shit to
me,
you,
go get
yeah.
the ball. I said, okay. Anything I gotta know? He said, no, just go shove it into one of the gutters and then, cycle the lane. I said, okay, no problem. So I go over and I crawl under the machine. Because he didn't tell me that there's a power switch in the front.
Oh.
The sweep comes down.
Oh.
The sweep pins me down to the lane. I learned a couple of things that day. The rack has a pressure sensor. If the rack encounters more than 1 pound of resistance, the rack goes back up. That's how it keeps from.
Good.
That's how they. Because if it doesn't, a pin being slightly out of place, it could just push the pin through.
Yeah,
the,
jam
just,
the pin. That makes sense.
just
Through the
like basically
lane.
just punch it through the lane like a hole punch. The sweep technically has a failsafe, but the sweep is calibrated to be able to push a whole rack of pins and 3 16-pound bowling balls.
Yeah.
I did
Which,
not weigh that much. The guy at the desk was laughing his ass off.
I would have. Same.
Because in his mind, how could I possibly be so stupid that I wouldn't turn the lane off before going underneath it? I learned so many things that day. Where is the laser that trips the pin sweep? Where is the power button for the lane machine? What are the tolerances for the lane machine's pressure sensors? And that I probably should have filed an incident report.
And probably beat the shit out of the guy at the counter.
He was bigger than me. It was
I'm
my
gonna be
second day
real.
of work ever.
I mean, fair. But like, man, if you ever run into that guy in the streets again, like, please just.
Oh, I see.
just
Oh, please.
sack tap him.
I see him when I go bowling with my parents. He runs the brackets. We're very good.
Hey, Jimmy.
We're still very close. He's a terrific dude. Dave, we're cool. We're cool,
We're fine.
man.
Don't worry about it,
We're
Dave.
cool. Because I know he tells that story too. You want to see? You want to hear about the dumbest thing I've ever seen at my job?
You want to hear about the time when Jason was an idiot?
Oh yeah,
Which
it's terrific. Absolutely terrific. And I think that's about gonna wrap us up for this week.
I think that's a good end.
That's a good, yeah. We'll try to end on funny stories like that when we can. Thanks you guys for being here with me. Appreciate both of you sharing.
Lovely time.
Looking forward to doing more of these, and thank you, listeners. Hoping to see or for you to hear us again soon. Right now, the show is brought to you by us. We have no sponsors. We have no agenda. Eat the rich. I don't know if we ever have merch. And you're listening to a playback of this at a time where we have merch, buy our merch. And if
you're
not,
listening, and
yeah.
if we have a sponsor who's brought to you by, boy howdy, you should buy that product.
yeah, whoever
Yeah, we
is
love that guy.
Yeah, whoever is sponsoring us, we love them. We've been using them forever, and we think they're terrific. And you can use this episode. You can cite this episode as proof that we've been using sponsor name here forever.
I was about to say, insert corporate entity here.
All right,
We
Shane,
love the company.
what do you want to wrap up with? What's your final thought?
You killed him.
Don't crawl under pin setters, and remember, GameStop is evil.
Yep. Anything you want to plug?
Good.
Any shameless plugs?
Go follow Spartan Boomer and wish him a happy birthday.
Spartan
Oh, that's
Boomer
nice.
on Twitch. Spartan
Yep.
Boomer. Tell him a happy birthday from
wish-
everyone
tell him-
at
Tell him happy birthday, and also that you want to see him drink spicy soda.
yes from
And
everyone at
Malort.
Internet Fried Brains.
He wants to
I-
try
Malort.
Malort so bad.
Oh
I cannot stress enough. I also stream, but I haven't streamed in months. If you want to go check out the Lord Sedg Twitch channel, I might be back eventually. We'll see.
Excellent. Sammy?
You can follow me at CyberDizzy. I have a TikTok. And then on my TikTok, there is a link tree where you can find my Etsy shop. I sell D&D dice and other like nerdy jewelry, things like that. And I am starting to sell bar dice as well. So keep an eye out for that stuff.
Excellent. And I am Jort. Check out more from us at jorts.tech, as well as the YouTube channel where we will be posting this, assuming Internet Fried Brains YouTube handle is available.
I'm sure.
And again, videos of the podcast will be posted to YouTube, hopefully Spotify, and jorts.tech/podcasts. And as always, any ideas, criticisms, heckles, suggestions, or love can be emailed directly to us at podcast@jorts.tech.
And
Thanks
if we
again.
really like your, if we really like your heckle and or criticism, you too may get read out on air.
Excellent. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much, guys. We'll see you next
See ya.
week.
Bye.